Hey, I'm Patrick Escolas, and I'm here with another Tire Tracks podcast, a Banyan Technologies podcast. But today, I am in beautiful Henderson, Nevada, at the Chimera Golf Course with my friend Tom Burke. Tom, thanks for joining us today.
Yeah, thanks for coming out.
Hey, no, I have to thank you because I'm from Cleveland, Ohio, and it was just about snowing when I left last night. So
Yeah, we did put a special request for the weather in for you. So
I appreciate that, Tom.
Yeah.
So, for anybody that's not me and hasn't been working with you in the past, who are you and what's your background? I know you're here with Freight Partner Group, and we'll get into that in a second.
Yeah.
But who are you?
You know, I started out my career going to the University of St. Louis with the original intentions to become a pilot. And soon after getting into it, I realized how expensive that was actually going to be. So my father said to me...
I did a similar thing with law school.
Did
so
you?
I know the
So you know the feeling. Yeah. So my father said to me, you know, why don't you pick transportation? Because everything needs to be picked up and delivered by a truck at some point or another. And
That's a smart man.
And that was wisdom from 1982. So quite a few years ago. So
Ironic that it's still accurate.
right, it still is. Yeah, at anything you touch, feel, smell. As a matter of fact, really, it moves by a truck, which is pretty amazing.
I love it.
Pretty amazing. So I changed my career to transportation administration and learned how to read old-time tariffs and look mileages up in the household goods book that most people probably don't even recognize.
And was that an Excel spreadsheet?
Yeah. Good luck with that. Yeah. So no, it was amazing. I've been very fortunate to have had a career in transportation my entire life, and have moved through all the facets of transportation. I have owned a trucking company with 300 trucks in 9 locations, a terminal operating company where we ran intermodal terminals in Minneapolis, Schiller Park, and Portal, North Dakota, out of all places.
I like the scene here a little better.
Yeah, that's where people got exiled to if they didn't behave. And as well as brokerage companies and container depots, container repair, and really the whole bit. So
yeah, every which way, huh?
Yeah, I'm very fortunate.
So I'll get back to you in a second. So we're here talking about Freight Partners Group, and that's how I know you.
Right.
Freight Partners Group, it sounds vague enough that it could do anything, but what are you out here doing?
Yeah, so we really, much like Banyan, we call ourselves a technology company first.
Correct.
Before we call ourselves a freight arranger or a transportation arranger.
Okay.
And the reason we do that is because, we've come into an era where people are expecting that they're going to get up-to-date, immediate information, and they're not willing to wait for it any longer.
Well, yeah, our phones are mini computers,
Right.
and we know more about our Starbucks coffee and where it is than,
Right.
some things in business.
Yeah, and transportation orders being placed on not only on phones but on iPads and Android devices and across the entire gamut. So consider ourselves a technology company, so we're building really great technology to make it really easy for customers to be able to book a shipment and be able to get updated statuses on where it is and be able to handle it all the way through to the billing. And that's why we chose Banyan. I've known Banyan for at least 20 years and have used the software in my earlier career days.
Okay.
And the reason we picked Banyan is because you guys really have the strongest backroom engine that's out there today.
And that's awesome because that's one of the things I say as a salesperson,
Right.
account manager. But it's always awesome to hear it from you without me, poking you.
Right.
Say, tell them how awesome we are.
Yeah.
No, but I hear a lot of that, and it's really nice for us that we're back end heavy and those connections are solidified. Now, when it comes to technology and logistics and freight, this is nowhere near your first foray.
No. When I sold the trucking company back in 2012, I decided to jump into the software business with both feet and started a product called DrayMaster, which today is still the only rate management system that is built to manage the full container load, import, export, pickup, and delivery off of a rail ramp or port across the U.S.
I would say that's still a point of a lot of obstacles for a lot of software that exists right now.
Correct. It was a little early for its time in 2012, But I sold it to a company called Envase, which is now Wisec Global.
Okay.
And they are
Heard that name.
continuing to really market it and pull it together. It's really taken off. It's now API connected to most of the freight forwarding systems across the U.S. and the world.
It went EDI to API real fast.
It did.
Yeah.
It did.
Everybody's like, this automation's cool if only it was dependable.
Right.
No.
Yeah, it's still amazing how much EDI is still used.
And also, depending on who you're talking to, you'll say API, and they'll assume you're saying EDI.
Right.
Like, yeah, and then you're like, hold
Right.
on. I have to make sure somebody in the back room knows what I'm telling them to do.
Right.
And you've mixed them up 3-4 times
Right.
now.
Yeah.
No, I love that. As someone that's not as smart as you technically, but has to understand it to get the people involved.
Right.
It's always a fun one. Like, hey, what acronym were you actually trying to
Right.
say there?
And when they do tell you that they actually meant EDI, you're like, oh god.
Oh, you're like,
yeah,
fine,
right?
fine.
Yeah.
We'll get dust
Yeah.
that stuff
Right.
off. Yeah,
Right.
exactly.
Yeah.
No, so we're talking about technology. We're talking about freight. Now, there's a lot of technology partners out there, and there's a lot of logistics movements going towards that, especially in light of COVID and those supply chain issues. But what does Freight Partner Group do on top of that? As where do you position yourself as a true value add?
Yeah, so we've really assembled a great group of people that we call our internal partners, and we have our internal partners as well as our external partners, which are our customers, and our technology partners also like Banyan. But we've got a great group of executives that are just really great at transportation, and in particular LTL, truckload, small package parcel, and all of those pieces, as well as
those pieces that can get away from you if you're not keeping an eye on them.
That's correct, and very quickly. So we've got a great group of people that has been assembled that are really going to be putting the true test to what we've developed here in the first quarter of this year. As you know, we've been working with you to get everything tied up in the back room, as well as the front end on our side, and we're ready to come out of the gate rolling.
Oh, I know you are. I have the camera here, so you don't push me and tell me why weren't we there yesterday.
Yeah,
but no,
right.
no, I know.
Yeah.
But and within that, so you've mentioned before, you guys try to kind of be a watchdog for some of the people you work with within freight. What is that like? Why'd you go that way, and how do you do that?
Yeah, COVID really taught us a lot of lessons across everything, and in particular, it taught us that when the transportation system is failing, that getting ahead of it and getting ahead with your customers with good communication is always key. And an ounce of preventative is worth a ton of whatever you have to think that you can lie yourself out of in the back way.
It's funny because I've talked to a logistics marketing consultant, Trey Griggs. I've talked to Chris Jolly, the freight coach, and everybody's saying is that it's not about if something's going wrong. Everybody knows that something will. There will be a complication.
Yep.
The overwhelming message I'm going is being proactive on either A, letting your customer know, or B, saying, here's what I've already got set happening because I knew this was.
Right.
So they're not a day late and a buck short going, what happened, and trying to pick up the pieces.
Right. It can be more painful, but there's no surprises on the back end, and
Right.
that's really what keeps customers engaged with you. And I tell people, you must be truthful, because back in my trucking days, I had truck drivers give me a reason why they weren't going to make an appointment.
Yeah.
That I would never have repeated to a customer. And told
But you
them,
knew it was honest.
and told them something else, and they showed up and gave them that absolute blatant truth. But
oh no,
we were forgiven for that.
You were trying to just make it a little prettier picture.
Yeah, smooth it over.
Now you're like, here it is. It's not
here
pretty,
it is.
but here's the truth.
Yep, you've got to.
No, I like that. So we're talking freight and logistics, but we're standing at this beautiful site here in Nevada, Henderson specific, where we got mountains, we got the swath of desert behind, and no snow anywhere. But how'd you get into this?
I moved out here 10 years ago from Minneapolis. Probably my Minnesota accent maybe come out just a little bit every now here.
It's not as bad as Terry's, but yeah.
Yeah, not nearly as bad as Terry's. But he still lives up there.
Right, exactly. He's got a good excuse.
He's still suffering in that below zero and snow and.
He wouldn't know what to do. He wouldn't know what to do without anything here to complain about, right?
No, right? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. But so I moved out here, and a buddy of mine came up to me and said, hey, there's a golf course that's for sale, just down the street from your house. And I said, wow, golf. I said, I've maybe golfed 15 times in my career in a best ball tournament.
Right.
I'm not really interested. He said, no, you got to go down and look at it. Well, 2 weeks later, I'm signing on the dotted line for this golf course. We, like I said, COVID taught us a lot of things. And COVID brought out and gave a whole new look and rejuvenation to the golf venue, which is absolutely super. So we're building a new clubhouse, and we're putting in a new mini putt to be family friendly.
Nice.
And you got to encourage kids to get into the golf business, not the golf business, but the golf game, right?
Yeah, can't
early.
have too many competitors.
No, too many competitors. Yeah, early in the game. So we've got some great things happening here, and as you know, we're going to be hosting the UPN tournament out here, and Banyan is
that's right.
is the main sponsor.
I won't be able to be there because I will be having my firstborn.
Oh.
And that is the only legitimate excuse why I'm not coming out here to come have a really good time.
Right.
So tell me a little bit about the UPN, why you're having it, and what kind of stuff you got going on.
Yeah, we've got a great partnership with the UPN. They were looking for their
speaking of acronyms, UPN, what's that?
Used Parts Network.
Perfect.
Yeah.
All right.
And they were looking for a venue to have their annual get together.
Yeah.
And we volunteered and put our hands up, and so we're going to have about 300 people coming out. We're going to be doing a bunch of really fun things. We're going to one of the funnest things we're going to be doing is going out to the firing.
This is the baby. I'm having a baby. I'm having a baby. Yes, please go on.
The gun range, and people are going to have the opportunity to fire off machine guns, as well as be able to have the golden ticket to blow up a couple of cars that are out there in the middle, and Hoover Dam and a bunch of other things. But just a really good networking opportunity for that entire group who are busy now because they are in the middle of the pandemic, and now they've had their business rejuvenated also because people aren't buying new, or they couldn't get new, so they're buying used and having to buy used parts for those vehicles.
I had to buy a car a week before my wedding, a used car.
Yeah.
I know the feeling. I know the pain.
Right.
So I got to ask, is it a recycling type of event? So they'll blow up the car and then they'll all fight to see who gets the parts and then sell them off?
Yeah.
Is that also part of the raffling?
Yeah, I didn't think of that aspect, Patrick. We should have talked earlier. Yeah. But, amazing.
Really whole Buffalo kind of situation.
Yeah. Amazingly enough, but some of the software companies that we deal with actually have a program where they punch in the car make and model when it comes into their scrap yard. Mm-hmm. Or recycling yard, as they're called today. And it will tell them how to part that entire vehicle out. It will print out all the barcodes, and it will put every one of those items in inventory for them and make them available.
How were you supposed to do this before? Look up half of it, have a giant parts book by manufacturer before?
Hey, Patrick, can you go out there and see if you have a bumper for a 2002 Chevy?
So you're saying that this automation technology might be a little bit of a godsend.
Right.
Yeah. No, that's awesome.
So that the other thing that we've done is we've made integrations with them. So they come into us, and then from us to you, and then from you back to us, and then back to them.
So it's really kind of one-stop shopping for them in the system.
Right. Yep.
That's nice. And I mean, that's the future of everything, right? One screen, all the options, all the modes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Nobody wants to even go to another tab, let alone another piece of software.
Right.
No.
Yeah.
No. So that's exciting. I'm, again, going to be terribly amiss to not be there, but excited that somebody will be having fun for me, and excited about my bundle of joy that's coming too. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah, no, that's definitely an exciting event.
Right, it's blowing up a car just in a completely different way.
Right. You may want to blow up a car.
There will probably be days.
Yeah.
No. But so you've got all this going on, and I've been asking everybody just as some consistency ones. What do you think? Logistics, obviously, we've changed kind of not everything, because some will tell you that not much has changed, that some of the processes have become more efficient, and it's just the regular demand and supply with capacity. Where do you see within the next year or two, what do you see the big changes in the logistics industry as a whole?
Yeah, I really think that one of the biggest changes is going to be one-stop shopping, where people can come in for all the modes, to include small package parcel, and pallet rates, and local pickup and delivery. The Uber model, or the that whole model.
That's how I got here today.
Yeah, right. Has really taught people that they can have information right now.
Right.
And that is the new expectation. So I think that one-stop shopping, as well as giving people as much information as you possibly can to let them know exactly where their shipment is, and what kind of time frame it's going to take to get there, and providing some of that information ahead of time.
And this is a question that just kind of comes up on me, and we've talked about it with some of the other people I've talked about, that logistics almost seems to be they get the technology last. Why? And I don't mean that is that there's not pieces and parts, but a lot of times it starts the financial system, or it starts an ERP at one, and then it eventually filters through to logistics. Why do you think, is it because there's so many moving parts? Why do you think that might happen? Do you have any insight?
Yeah,
and there's no right or wrong answer.
Yeah,
obviously.
no, there is a right answer, and
it's yours.
And I've got it because I've been in this business for 30 years.
There's a man with confidence. Yeah.
We are slow adopters.
Okay.
If we had more foresight into what technology could do or could have done for this business a long time ago, we would have been way ahead of this game that we're in today.
And do you think that that's a shift that's happened? Is that a lot of people have turned that head to forward thinking instead of getting caught behind? Or are we destined to repeat the mistakes again?
Well,
Depends who you
over
talk
the
to.
last few years, there's been a lot of startup companies that have received tens of millions of dollars to come in and try and duplicate what companies like Banyan or Draymaster, or any of the major software programs that have been out there, and put a new front end on them and think that they've got it made. Well, they soon found out that without strong bones, that your software is only as good as it is.
The shiny interface.
The shiny interface is great. However, without a really good, strong back end, it really is proven that companies like Banyan that have been around forever are going to stay around, and then that back room is just going to continue to get stronger. It's not a wheel that you're going to reinvent overnight.
Hey, I mean, you heard it from him, not even from me.
Yeah.
I'm not going anywhere.
Okay, how about that payment?
Yeah, that's right. There you go. That's right. He gave me the hat too.
Yeah,
I love
yeah,
it. No,
yeah.
But he'll get a shirt and some sunglasses, but his are a lot nicer than the cheap ones I brought him. No, but so here, kind of hit all the things I wanted to. What I want to offer to you is kind of give everybody this kind of soapbox. What's your one message to either your customers, anyone that might be having problems, or just looking at the logistics industry as a whole? What's your message?
Yeah, it's really do your due diligence and understand who the person or the company is that you're going to partner with, and make sure that they, number one, have the technology to support you, number two, that they have the back room people-wise to support what they're doing. There's still a lot of things that are manual in this today, with calling and tracing and making sure that the carriers are going to pick up and so forth. And just being on top of that and making sure that that team that you choose has all of those things.
Hey, I love it, and it's funny because I come out here and I talk about technology, but most of the time that message that somebody has at the end here really has to do with making sure you do what you need to do. You've got the tools and the resources, but really making sure you have that connection and there's trust there.
Right, absolutely. Trust is key, and then staying with that partner through thick and thin.
Hey, well, I trust that I'm enjoying this much more than I would be at my office at home. And Tom, thank you very much for telling us about Freight Partners Group and being on our episode of Tire Tracks, and look forward to seeing you. Well, somebody at Banyan and probably somebody with a camera will see
Right.
you at UPN.
Yeah.
But hey, it's a great time. Thanks
Yeah.
for letting me out here.
Yeah, thank you.
Hey, great talking to you.
Yeah, thanks, Patrick.